Can you tell me a little bit about this whole 10-year makeover proposed plan that you have?
Yeah, what we've created is a facilities master plan that will address the campus's needs for the next 10 years from a facility standpoint. What that focuses on are certainly space needs, as well as infrastructure and general planning, landscape as well. We broaden out into even issues such as traffic and safety. So we cover a lot of bases with our facilities master plan. But of course, what it really manifests in is built environment. So we look at what our needs are from a construction standpoint. We use this as a guideline for going to the state and to the Board of Regents for requesting funding, capital funding for all of those projects. So whether that be an academic building or a residence hall or an athletics facility, all of those go through different paths, but this is really a framework that we start with and we refer back to, and it helps us sort of prioritize, explain to those different entities what our needs are. So that's really the genesis and the reason for this master plan.
And I had seen some things, it's kind of going to be in a couple different phases. Can you tell me a little bit about the phases?
Yes, what we've done is we've tried to break up the master plan into 5-year phases within that 10 years that it covers. So first phase, years 1 through 5, and then second phase, years 6 through 10. And then we even have kind of a third phase, which is more of the future beyond that, which is really obviously very uncertain at this point. But what we focus on certainly are the ones in the first 5 years that are our priorities, the needs that we really have as far as building renovations. We do have several buildings that are 30 plus years old, mechanical systems that are reaching the end of their lifespan. Also from a technology standpoint, of course, academic buildings that don't support current technology need revamping of the classrooms, additional offices, and just changes in growth in different programs, one versus the other, as well as looking at the athletic facilities, upgrading those, and enabling then in the future to free up sites around the campus for future buildings that may happen in that second 5 years of the plan. Within that, we certainly have a priority for a fine and performing arts complex. That's a high on our wish list as far as a need. We currently have limited space on campus for the performances, theater, music, dance, all of those things, which culturally we want to be the hub of for Delmarva. So those facilities are outdated and undersized for our needs. So certainly that's a priority, as well as a field house from a standpoint of our needs for students. Currently all of our students have to use the MAGS Physical Activity Center for academic purposes, recreation purposes, and athletics. All of athletics shares that facility for locker rooms. The folks who want to get in there and have recreation, the IM sports obviously get pushed out. So we obviously know we have a strong need there for additional space. And that has manifested in, as part of the master plan, a desire to construct a new field house and rec center on East Campus, which would then unload MAGS so that MAGS could be essentially an academic building with obviously some other uses in the evening, but that would really take the pressure off of that building. Additionally, the building does not have air conditioning throughout, just in the main gym, so certainly a facility that's supporting physical activity without air conditioning actually in the summer can get stifling and even become a health concern for us. So those are some of the priorities that we've come up with, and also generating the ability to relocate and replace some old residence halls. Dogwood Village as well obviously was a temporary building or temporary complex that was constructed many years ago and needs to be replaced in modern housing. And certainly from a attraction and retention standpoint, getting the best students, retaining the best students, obviously housing is an important component within that as well. So enabling new projects to happen, replacing old buildings, that's why it's broken into 2 phases so that we can systematically go through and do that. And obviously some of the buildings we have need to be demolished and you can't build on that site until that's done. So there's a series of dominoes that have to happen for a number of these projects to move forward.
Speaking of kind of demolishing, I have noticed there's some construction going on campus now. Can you tell me about what's going on campus right now?
Yeah, of course. The Academic Commons, the Patricia Argerary Academic Commons, of course, is our big project right now. It's a $117 million project, which is a replacement for Blackwell Library, but it's much more than a library. It's also academic support spaces. We have a whole floor dedicated to that. It's a four-story structure, and one story is completely dedicated to the Center for Student Achievement, the Writing Center, Instructional Design and Delivery, Faculty Center as well. So it's really focusing on bringing all of the campus together in a collaborative learning environment. So that'll certainly be our iconic building on campus when completed. It'll be the tallest and the largest academic building that we have. As well as on the East Campus, we're currently under construction for a new stadium. So our football, lacrosse teams, and field hockey teams will all have locker rooms and training facilities within that structure. We'll seat almost about 6,000 or so folks when it's all said and done, somewhere between 5,000 to 6,000. We're still working out final numbers, but that will be a brand new facility. It'll certainly be a facility that we can be proud of, and certainly underscore the fact that we have a successful athletics program in addition to the academics. So those are two very exciting projects, as well as a third smaller project, a new tennis building adjacent to the newly completed tennis courts.
Great. And can you also tell me about who you've been working with to do all of these renovations?
Yeah, we work certainly with a number of planning firms and architectural firms to do this. For the facilities master plan, we worked with Air St. Gross, a firm from Baltimore, who is internationally renowned for their campus planning, and we had a wonderful experience with them. They were very instrumental in us looking at things with a fresh set of eyes. Really tested some of our original thoughts, and certainly I think we came up with a wonderful plan that's forward-thinking and also feasible from the standpoint of what we want to accomplish with it. So that was a wonderful experience. But we also work with other planning firms, Sasaki from Boston, who actually did most of the design for the Academic Commons, actually in teaming with Air St. Gross, as well as another firm, GWWO, from Baltimore, who is working on our athletics projects. So that's, again, another well-known firm and a wonderful group to work with.
Yeah, definitely. You were telling me a little bit about how much some of the buildings will cost. Do you have a kind of estimated total of what you think the 10-year renovation cost will be proposed?
Yeah, we have very rough numbers. Obviously, with unknowns going out, especially 10 years in construction pricing, it's very difficult. But certainly, we're in the hundreds of millions as far as the cost. If we were to somehow have a magic pot of gold that we could do everything that we wanted, certainly it would be hundreds of millions, probably $500,000,000 or $500 million worth easily of construction.
And for this proposed plan, where is most of the funding coming from?
It comes from a variety of sources. Our academic state-supported projects come from the state's capital improvement program, so we get money for that from the state, and obviously the governor is instrumental in that, as well as the legislature. On the other side, the non-state supported buildings, what we call auxiliary buildings, such as athletics, student support, residence halls, all come from auxiliary funds that we work with the system to create and get approval from the Board of Regents. We get academic revenue bonds that support those projects, which then we pay back those bonds with student fees, recreation fees, housing, obviously costs. So those are a couple different avenues. Obviously also donors and third parties who may come in and support projects, certainly as they did with Guerrero University or University Center, Guerrero Academic Commons, and Purdue Hall. All were certainly largely possible because of donations from individuals.
Great, and that kind of leads me to my last question, which you may not know, or you could even tell me your opinion. Do you think that tuition will rise for Salisbury students?
Tuition inevitably will rise over the years. I know that next year we do have a planned increase, a minor increase in tuition, and then as we go forward, certainly every few years I would imagine that there will continue to be increases, but that's a decision made at a state and Board of Regents level, certainly. Obviously affordability is critical in keeping folks here and making what we think is a very good bang for your buck as far as higher education at Salisbury University.